Hi, everyone. I'm really psyched to be here, and thank you, Melissa, and the Rakuten team for inviting me over. A few words on me, on Dynamic Yield, to qualify a bit what I'm going to say, what I'm going to talk about in the next 30 minutes. So in 2009, I sold my personalized search engine company to Sears, and I tried to take personalization to the next level in e-commerce and really to increase ARPU and AOV of our Sears.com and all our online properties without increasing the spend on media acquisition. So we brought in basically every vendor in the market. We brought them in to pitch us. We tried to realize, how do we do personalization at scale, and how do we make it work? And we just couldn't find how do we connect all the dots. There were a lot of email vendors that did personalization. There were product recommendation engines. But as customers have been engaging with us in email, mobile apps, web, and even offline in the stores, we couldn't tie it into a unified story that our marketing team and merchandising team could make it work. So we ended up building everything from scratch. So fast forward 2011, I decided that this is what we have to do for the general industry. Not every company has the ability to spend money on over 100 engineers building an engine for 4 years. And this is when we created Dynamic Yield. So Dynamic Yield is 4 years old, almost 5. About 100 employees, 50 engineers. It's very IP-intensive business, and we help our customers make more money by creating personalized experiences at scale. We see about 500 million unique users a month across our customers. We have top retail customers like Under Armour and top global publishers like the New York Times. And the idea is that the more data we have, the better our engines are being trained in personalizing experiences across all our properties. When I prepared this presentation for the summit, it is a bit of a different case. Usually, we are either helping a publisher or a retailer. But here in the room, we have a mix of publishers and retailers. And I was trying to think, how do I look at it as a marketplace? And this is really how we see the marketplace and how we can improve the engagement of users, both with retailers and with publishers. So on the publishing side, there's always I'd say the challenge of increasing traffic acquisition costs. It costs me more to bring a customer to my site today than it did 2, 3, 4 years ago. And competition just gets fiercer every year. So once I have the attention of a customer, how do I get them to actually generate the highest value for me as a publisher? And I'm pretty limited with my relationships with advertisers today. I can do manual merchandising. I can maybe do CTR-based optimization. But I cannot take all these offers that I have and optimize for yield in real time, because I'm missing a lot of data that resides on the retailer side of the business. So when I'm thinking about how do I personalize the experience and how do I optimize it, I'm missing a lot of data in the chain. On the other hand, as a retailer, my challenge is that the affiliates are all about the money. If I don't have a good enough experience once the customer arrives to my website, and I don't manage to convert well and to generate enough money for myself that I can pay the bounties to the publisher, basically I'm not going to get as much traffic as I want to meet my revenue goals. So we're in a situation where there is a marketplace here that both sides only have a partial view of the customer, but they have a mutual interest of increasing efficiency because it makes everyone more money. And it's also very beneficial for the consumer that gets what they want. We have to realize that we are all in the real estate business. But the real estate is about pixels. When I go to ebates.com or when I go to Macy's.com, there is a limited amount of space in which you can offer me the different promotions and different products. How do I optimize for that real estate in real time is super important. The second aspect is that we're in the attention business. How do we gain the attention of our customers and make them be aware of us when they need to do a transaction? If you think about retail and about purchases, I'll take, for example, a big fashion brand that we work with. No matter how much they spend on marketing, and no matter how big of a brand they are, they have on average 1.2 transactions per year per user. It is not a lot. So how do I make sure that when I'm about to do the transaction, I would go to the right coupon site, or how do I go to the right, I come back to the publisher to reclaim my coupon and to make sure I get the discount as a consumer. I'm not doing that frequently enough that is top of mind for me. So we are fighting for attention also on the publisher side as well as in the retail side. It boils down to a question about relevance. And relevance is the combination of, it's kind of the joint point where between what we want to tell our customers and what our customers are interested in. I could set up here outside a booth selling winter gear, snowboard shoes and stuff and give everyone 10% discount. I'm not going to make a lot of sales with 80 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I would put a booth outside of sunglasses and give you 20% coupon because you're in the Rakuten Symposium. I'm probably going to do a lot of money in the next couple of hours. So why is it so different? It's because I'm more relevant to the current context in which we're all in, which is 80 degrees, which is amazing because I come from New York, and it's definitely not 80 degrees in New York. This is an equation we've seen across our customers. And it is profit equals relevance to the power of X. Increase relevance by 20%, you can increase profit by 100%. It is as aggressive. Because if you think about the affiliate ecosystem, if I increase relevance on the e-commerce side, I increase conversions and revenue. I increase my payouts to my affiliate partners, and then I just get more traffic, and then it's a circle. I get more revenue, my margins are improving, and I meet my targets. So by increasing relevance by 10, 20%, the impact on my bottom line is much, much more important than this 10, 20%. It fuels the entire ecosystem. And as we all know, it's all about economies of scale. If I manage to increase my amount of transactions by 2 or 3 times, I can lower shipping costs. I know I can pay for my products a lower amount when I'm negotiating with my vendors and so on and so forth. So it is more than just having a 10% uplift in transactions. And personalization increases relevance. This is kind of an axiom of the market, and it works like magic. And the question that we have to ask every day for every customer that arrives to our website, whether we are a publisher or retailer, is how do I show a given user in a given context? What do I show them? What do I show a given user in a given context in order to maximize yield? It's all about yield maximization. And it's all about trying to take it to the next level, switching away from Excel and manual work to automation, because automation works. And there are 4 ways, I would say there are 4 steps in getting there, and I'm going to talk about it a bit further down the presentations. First of all, we need to start tracking our user activities across all channels. Track what they do on the website. If you have an app, track what they're doing on your app. Track how much they're opening your emails, what are they clicking on, what are they seeing? If you're doing display advertising, do you do attribution for your display advertising? Tracking is critical, and do not track it using Omniture or analytics, because the information there is not at the user granularity. You have to have user-level granularity tracking, because the next thing you want to do is to segment these users and change the experience for different segments. For example, gender-based segmentation. Classic, right? We go into any retail store in the real world, and there is a sign that says, men, you go to the left, to the right, and women, you go to the left. Classic segmentation in the offline world. Why can't we do it in the online world in a good way? We have to track it on a user-level granularity. And the 4th aspect is learning. We all have hypotheses. Oh, this landing page is going to work, or this coupon is going to work really well for on this weekend. These are hypotheses that we actually have to qualify empirically before we move on to our next hypothesis. Every day in our jobs, we have certain assumptions, and our ability to understand how they impact our results in real time helps us be much faster in improving our results. So the #1 mistake of e-commerce across the board is we are treating our customers as if they are the same. 2 weeks ago, when I started preparing this presentation, I went to Macy's.com, and this is what I got. 30-year-old guy from New York, nothing is relevant to me. Maybe makeup sometime, but nothing is really relevant to me. So think about it like, what a waste of real estate and attention of a customer that purchased in Macy's before, can afford a good t-shirt, can afford a good pair of jeans, and they're promoting bras. It's great, but it's not relevant in any way. Macy's has wasted the 20 seconds of attention I gave them, and I bounced. This is Nordstrom on my mobile site 2 weeks ago. Great pictures, zero relevance to who I am and what I need. So when you go on mobile, the problem gets even more challenging because you have limited real estate, and with limited real estate, you have to make tougher decisions. And when I look at the numbers, at the revenue numbers of our retail customers, today mobile traffic is over 50% of all traffic they get, but only 20% in value in terms of revenue. How do we bridge that gap? Because mobile is not going anywhere, it's just increasing. We're going to see soon 60, 70, 80% of traffic is going to be mobile. We need to start ramping up the revenue numbers. With a limited real estate, relevance is the key to creating better transactions. This is a big fashion retailer that we work with. They do $200 million online, and guess what? 2% of their users generate $200 million. 98% of their users generate $0 in value. So this is when we look at at yearly unique visitors. So when I arrive to this website, how do I know as a marketer if that user is in the 2% or the 98%? Because I have to give them different experiences. The 2% are my VIPs. These are the ones that generate the money, and I'm getting my bonus at the end of the year because they buy. 98%, they are somewhere else in the funnel and their relationship with me as a brand. And we see that, and it depends on what type of retailer. Some retailers, it's 5% of the unique visitors that generate 100% of the value, but it is a very aggressive Pareto. The second mistake, which we see across the board, and we are educating our customers with, is don't over-rely on your gut feeling. And over-relying on your gut feeling this is a great example. So this is Ebates. I think I took it from Ebates. And I look at all these Macy's coupons. And my question is, when I click on the women dresses now $100 or less, what is the destination URL? Do you send me to the category page, to the home page, or maybe a different page? In this case, they sent me over to the category page. And then I keep asking the following questions is, I have 850 items in the category. How many items do you think the customer is going to look at before they get tired and they bounce? I tell you what, second page view is as much as they go. My wife will go 5 and 6. She'll find the most expensive dress somehow, but most people will bounce after the second page. And of course, I'm kidding about my wife. She doesn't shop at Macy's. Where was I? Yeah. So 858 items in category, which means that basically almost 800 items will never be viewed by a user. And guess what? It is sorted by featured items, which means a merchandiser, a human, made a decision that these are the top products. Guess what? It's not. So when I'm sending traffic from the website, from the affiliate site to the retail site, the revenue of the affiliate depends a lot on what is the destination URL of the retailer, but they don't have a lot of impact on it. And this is one thing that we are changing is you want to optimize the post-click traffic for revenue. The second thing is I'm asking is, are these the best banners to show for Ebates traffic? Maybe I should have other banners with other call to actions for my publisher traffic from Ebates. And we have seen over and over again that these are areas where you have to spend a lot of time experimenting because the impact is millions of dollars a year across the board, both for the publishers and for the retailers. This is an example of the revenue per user of different sorting orders for one of our customers. So you can see that the control group is the middle. It's a bit, it's hard to see here, but the do nothing variation, which is merchandised by their merchandisers, generated $2.73 per user on average. When we changed it to pricing it from high to low, we increased the value per user by almost 4%. Nothing magic. We just changed the sorting order to price. This is an outlet category page that I'm showing here to first show the most expensive items. 4% increase in revenue took us 5 minutes to do it, a week of an A/B test, and then we continue the A/B test over a few months just to make sure that it is not a nuance. And boom, 4% of revenue. 4% of revenue for a site that size is almost $12 million in yearly revenue uplift just by A/B testing different sorting orders for one category page. But it gets more complicated. This is for the average user. And I hate the concept of average user because if we think about averages, Warren Buffett and I, we have on average about $15 billion each. Now, if you are an affiliate that sells mega yachts, who are you going to send over, to Hawaii to check out your next yacht? I really hope that you do a mistake and you treat me as your average customer, but the reality is probably not. And this is the problem with the average user. And again, I showed the 2% that make 100% of value. So when we started looking at the same category page in the sorting order, we saw that even though the average user sorting from high to low generated the highest yield, when I took one of the segments of that customer, the same sorting order actually was the worst performing sorting order in that category. Think about it now, they have 100 different segments. It becomes a problem that has to be solved by an algorithm and not by a human. So optimizing the order of category pages, just the different sorting orders for affiliates, we see a 10% increase in revenue for the retailer, and of course, back to the publisher. It is massive and literally overnight. The second part is optimizing the actual landing page. Today, and this is more for the retailers in the room, you get traffic to your category page because the concept of a landing page in retail is not very popular. I don't understand why. I would just say it's like traditionally, in the CMS, we just send to a category page. But the reality is, the category page that I just clicked on from Ebates is a de facto landing page. I have to think about it as a landing page. And when I think about it as a landing page, I have to think about optimizing my landing page. For example, removing excess information in order to let the product shine. For example, making sure that my call to actions are relevant to the context of the customer that arrived from the publisher right now. It is not the same. Having a customer arriving to your category page through an affiliate link is very, very different than having the customer arriving to the very same page by going to Macy's.com, browsing through the website, and going to the dress category. It's different context, different state of mind of the user, and you need to show a different category page. So you need to think about these elements as you want to generate high revenue because it works. Again, 10% increase on top of the 10% from before, 10% increase in just getting the landing pages or the category pages done right. When I go to the publisher side, I'm asking the same questions, but now for the publisher. Why do I get this banner? Why do I get that creative? Maybe a different banner or a different creative would generate higher yield. Today, even though if you think about the publishing side, this should have been run, and in many cases, we are encouraging to run this through ad servers. The problem with ad servers is in the context of affiliates, they can optimize for CTR. They will not optimize for yield and revenue because they cannot track the transactions within the retailer. But you have to think about this as ads and not to think about it as a CMS. Everything that I see here on this page should be completely programmatic and automated in order to maximize yield. In some cases, like Ebates, I think they're doing that. We see like changes, but I have not seen enough changes based on segments that I feel, okay, they are optimized. So when I look at a typical publisher, I think that you can generate anywhere between 20 and 50% increase in revenue by trying to think about it from an algorithmic and from a personalization standpoint. Again, an Ebates example. I checked the ebates.com from our office in Soho, and I get the Walmart gift card. And I want to ask this question. How many people from New York City thought that the Walmart $10 gift card is a good enough proposition for actually subscribing to Ebates? It's the wrong proposition, if you ask me, and it's my hypothesis. We need to check it, but it's the wrong proposition for this segment. And this is exactly so. And the way I'm looking at it, and I do some quick math, it's not based on any data that I have. I assume. So let's say Ebates gets another 100,000 new users a year, and the lifetime value of a customer is $20. So it's $2 million a year in additional lifetime that they are getting from customers. If I can get you 20% uplift on the conversion rates of your joint Ebates now, it's $400,000 a year. Isn't it worth it in order to have even one person focusing 3-4 hours a week on creating 8 different variations for the registration sign-up in order to create a 20% lift? The answer is yes. Unfortunately, not a lot of publishers think this way. And this is the big challenge in the market. Advertising technology, think about buying ads on Facebook, think about SEM, think about display. In the last 20 years, have gone an amazing shift towards being completely programmatic. But after the user clicks and arrives to the website is like this clunky old car, which is the CMS, which was built probably when we played Snake on our Nokia phones, and is completely not geared for 2016. It's about page views, it's about serving page views, and think about page views. Think about your experience on Facebook or on Twitter or Pinterest. When did you ever see a page view happen on Facebook? It is a streamlined, personalized experience. And when we go to mobile, you must stop thinking about page views because it is a lot of friction and users will bounce much faster. So we want you to transition from thinking about page views to thinking about streamlined, personalized experiences. And this is the trend. And if you don't innovate and stay on top of the trend, basically in terms of a perfect market, others will do it and they'll have better unit economics. They'll get all the traffic. And this is what we do. We help our customers bridge that gap and create personalization at scale. So when I look at what are my easy wins across the boards for affiliates and for the retailers, is first of all, use what we call smart links, a dynamic yield. What is a smart link? Think about it as a URL shortener with yield optimization and with segmentation. So when I'm giving, as Nordstrom, when I'm giving a link to the publisher, instead of giving the link that will go directly to a certain category page, I'm giving them a shortened URL that I can now track. And I can create segments based on BlueKai segments, based on my first-party data. And I can start sending traffic to different places on my website and see if I can generate higher revenue than just sending them to the same category page. For each of these segments, I can choose several destination URLs, and then an algorithm is going to optimize on revenue and on purchases, so I don't have to think about it too much. And then I get the real-time data that I can always test and change without going back to my publisher, giving them a new URL and also a new creative. The second part is, number 2 is, again, personalizing category pages. I covered it a bit. I will not spend time on that now. Third one is creating, for the retail side, create a homepage for affiliate traffic. Again, I arrive from Ebates to UnderArmour.com. I have a different context than the user that arrives to the UnderArmour.com from their email newsletter. Create a different experience for them. It will decrease friction, increase engagement, and increase AOV. Do weather targeting. If you're a Macy's or a Nordstrom or a fashion retailer, it doesn't make sense that you have the same promotion right now on the website, regardless whether I'm in Arizona at 80 degrees or freezing in New York, that I probably need different types of promotions because I'm in a different place. So weather targeting, we see it across the board. We see on average a 10% increase in conversions and 2.7% increase in AOV when you start doing weather targeting in a scalable way. I don't have time. I'm going to skip some of these, of the product pages. And I'd say social influence is important. I'll speak about it for 10 seconds. There are a lot of signals that can help us as consumers make a decision to buy right now. And we have seen that social influence is one of the most important ones. I don't know if you've been on Booking.com or any of these engines in the last couple of years. When you're looking at a hotel, they start telling you 7 other people are looking at this hotel right now. Only 2 rooms left. They're starting to apply pressure to drive you towards a conversion. And it works in retail. You go to a website, to a retailer, and you look at an item, and they tell you that 10 other people from Arizona or from Phoenix or from Scottsdale, we're in Scottsdale, have purchased this item in the last 7 days. It is going to increase conversions over just having this product over there. Social influence works. Exit intent, as much as I hate it as a consumer, it works like magic. In general, on the internet, being aggressive works if it is in the right context. If you have a repeat visitors coming to your website, don't have an exit intent strategy every time they leave. It's annoying. They are already repeat visitors. But if it's the first time someone arrived to your website through side or traffic, through Facebook or search, and they're about to leave, just give it one more try to grab their attention with something that will make them stay, or hopefully provide you with an email address so that you can start doing push notifications and be in front of them in a more frequent way. Email triggers work like magic. I don't have time to spend on it right now. And in the last 3 minutes that I have, I want to speak about how we are looking at the market and where it's going to go. We have created a set of pipes that connect the affiliate and the publishing world with the e-commerce world. So as a retailer, I can share with my publishers the information which is relevant for them that helps me make more money. For example, I can share with them in real time conversions on my site for users that arrive from a publisher. Why it helps? Because now the publisher can optimize on revenue yield and not just wait until they see in the reports how much the promotion has generated for me. I can start doing smart retargeting. I always like to shop for value. So the way I shop is I go to a website. So I would go to Nordstrom.com. I would search for a jacket. I would find the jacket I want. I would go to Retail Me Not or Ebates or any of the big coupon sites, and I would see if I can get a discount. And then I would go back to Nordstrom to complete the transaction. Now think about it this. Think about Nordstrom sharing this with Ebates.com. So now when I go back to Ebates, they can already pop up the Nordstrom-related promotions that they have. They save time for me as a customer. They generate more revenue for Ebates because I find what I want and I'm going to use that coupon. And it's really good for Nordstrom as well because I found what I searched for. I will go back and I will do the transaction. So this is a simple data sharing where I can share data between a retailer and the publisher without exposing data that these two parties don't want to expose to each other. So we are like Switzerland. We sit in between, and we are a pipe that shares the right amount of data. Lookalike modeling. So think about, again, I'll take Under Armour as an example. I have 1 million users transacting a year, just inventing this number. I have 1 million users transacting this year, and now I want to do an agreement with a publisher. I want to do lookalike modeling, and I want to find customers that are similar to the ones that made a transaction on Under Armour that visit that publisher because they could promote Under Armour for these customers, and it's more relevant to them. And again, it feeds the chain of conversion, revenue, and profit for everyone. 2 more examples is creating data sharing between the two. So I'm an Ebates.com customer. They have my email. I go to Ebates.com. I click on an Under Armour promotion. I go to UnderArmour.com. I add 4 items to the cart, and I abandon the cart. In terms of Under Armour, they don't know anything about me. But Ebates has my email. Wouldn't it make sense for Ebates to send me an email 3 hours from now offering me to complete my transaction on Under Armour so that, of course, everyone will recap that lost revenue? So these are just some examples of what you can do with data when you're starting to share data in a selective way between the publishers and the retailers, and we are enabling it in a scalable way. That's pretty much. Thank you so much. I hope it was interesting, and that's it. Are there any questions? Yes.
I don't need it. Thank you very much. Really helpful. Can you say more about how do you do all this? Is it through an algorithm? How does your technology?
Yes. So we have a big data platform that records every single interaction of a customer. So let's compare it to Salesforce. Salesforce records the transactions of each customer. You make 2 purchases a year in Nordstrom, there's going to be 2 rows in Salesforce. We record every product you viewed, every email you opened, every item you added to the cart, every purchase. So we record about 100 times more data than a CRM. And then based on that, we allow you to do real-time segmentations. For example, you can create a segment, show me people that looked at running shoes in the last 90 days and did not purchase. We're going to show you here, these are your 40,000 users in that category. For 20,000, you also have their email address. So now you can basically click a button and through your ESP, send an email to these 20,000 people that your shoes are on sale. So it's in the very basic, it's a big data infrastructure that captures every single data point of the customer. And on top of that, you have the segmentation engines. And on top of that, all the algorithms that do recommendations, lookalikes, triggers, et cetera. And it's across web. We have iOS and Android SDKs, and of course, mobile web.
And is it just for the retailer, or you say, if you see me at 16 different retailers, are you using all that data?
No, yeah, it's a good question. We don't share data between retailers. We don't share data between our customers. The data that we keep on your customers is yours. We will never share it with anyone else. With the exception of you letting us know, I'm working with Ebates and I want to share engagement data for the Ebates traffic to my website, we enable the data sharing in that. So you have to explicitly, the two customers have to explicitly tell us we want to share the data between us. They define what they want to share, and we enable it. But every data, like our customers are super sensitive to their data, and they would not work with us if we would ever sell or use this data to the advantage of their competitors. Sure. Any more questions? Perfect. We are in the next room. Let me know if you have any more interesting things to discuss with us. So we're going to be there, I guess, until 6, and then we're going to go drink with everyone. Which is, thank you.